Hello and welcome to week 19 of the advanced full distance training plan from Scientific Triathlon. I hope you're doing well and I hope your training last week went well, even with the very high volume that you were doing. This week we do go back a bit on volume, 20 hours nominally compared to 21:55 last week. And the range is from 18 hours 20 to 20 hours 45. But it is another week of race specificity as well as the supporting casts, like we talked about last week, a bit of strength and stamina, a little bit of maintenance of speed and high intensity as well. So we have, but race specificity is definitely the main thing and the main focus, whether we're talking specific race pace and power, or we're talking about things like the longer kind of sustained efforts that are the speed and endurance support of race pace. Since we are, for the second week running, training at 20 hours or above, it is really, really important to be disciplined about your intensity. Keep the easy work easy. Keep the endurance work endurance only. Basically, let zone 1 be zone 1. Let zone 2 be zone 2. And also do not feel any pressure that when you have a pace or power range, that you should hit the high end of that range. The range is there for a reason, and anything within that range is good enough and equally good. It's not better to be at the higher end rather than at the lower end. The good thing that you should do as an athlete is to think about how you can, or just assess how you can best perform in those demanding workouts, the race-specific workouts, and so on. And quite often that might entail just being super disciplined and maybe even consciously going towards the low end of the range on those easier days and the endurance days that are slightly less race specific, and save yourself for using most of your energy on those more race specific days. So that is something that I want to remind you of. And also I want to say that after this week, when you're watching this, you still have this week ahead of you and then one full week of race specificity next week, even though volume keeps going down. But there is a lot of hard work in there regardless. So if you feel, oh, I feel really good, I feel really strong, I want to start pushing it a bit, and I want to do a little bit more to make sure I'm getting enough of stimulus, I would say wait, don't do it yet, because you still have another, sorry, I'm at week 19 here. There we go. We still have another 20 hours before we get to next week. And 20 hours back into 7 days is quite a lot. A lot can happen. You can start to fatigue quite quickly when it comes. So just stay very disciplined. Don't do anything more or anything harder than prescribed this week. And if you still feel that way next week, then maybe next week is the week where you can experiment a bit and go a little bit more. I would say, what would I say be a good adjective to that? And I just guess be a little bit more approaching the edge, so to say, or looking for the edge, even though you don't want to find the edge necessarily. But anyway, that's something that I wanted to mention. And then just a quick reminder to practice all of the race-specific aspects, not just the power and pace that is prescribed and baked into the workouts, but things like equipment and terrain, where you're doing your workouts. So on the Saturday ride, go out and do it on the roads. The open water swim on Sunday, if at all possible, do it in the open water, and so on. Using your disc wheel, race helmet, whatever it is, because I mean you're going to use them on race day, and you need to make sure that you can handle them in training as well. So be very specific, and then of course the perhaps most important one would be practice your race nutrition and hydration, not just in the very longest workout, the one on Saturday, for example, when we're talking about the cycling, and the one on Sunday when talking about the running. You have a Wednesday, an hour and a half run where you can practice your run nutrition and hydration plan. That is a perfect opportunity. You have a 2-hour ride on Tuesday with some tempo work. You can practice it there as well. Can and should, I want to add. So in terms of workout highlights, we have another endurance LT1 swim with open water skills. I discussed that a bit last week, so we don't need to go into that here. We have another couple of the speed support workouts, the fartlek light and the endurance with surges I also discussed last week. Just remember with these, the point isn't to make these very hard workouts. It's just to go just hard enough that you really recruit those muscle fibers and no harder. So we're aiming for around threshold or slightly higher than threshold or slightly lower in that region, and that's good enough. The goal is not to go out and try to smash these and do some really hard, get some really hard stimulus or strong stimulus for adaptation. That is something we work on in the specific workouts. And one of the specific workouts, even though it's not race power really, but much closer to race power, is the strength endurance workout on Tuesday. So just a good old-fashioned strength endurance workout with 4 times 13 minutes at 80 to 85% of FTP with 60 to 70 RPM. And another example of that is the hill reps workout, which you have done many times before. Just a reminder that you can do the hill of various durations depending on what you have available, or you can do it on a treadmill, but you should do it on a hill. You cannot just go and do the same thing on the flat ground, because it doesn't work like that. You do want that hill and have to fight against gravity and all of that. So whether it's 10 times 3 minutes or 6 times 5 minutes or 15 times 2 minutes, it doesn't matter. But find a hill, and if you don't have a hill, then do it on a treadmill. Then we have the intensity maintenance on the swim as well, like we had last week. And then on the weekend, the Ironman race pace ride, we are up at, let's see, this is 1 hour 40, 2 hours 15. Okay, so this is the same duration of race pace riding as last week. I'm quite sure if I did the math correctly. But essentially, since last week, you have probably had time to think and contemplate whether your race power that you tried to hold or your target power that you tried to hold was realistic or not. And so make adjustments accordingly. Be smart, be sensible, chase constant improvements from week to week. So if you found that last week was a bit too hard, then go slightly easier this week, or if you found it was too easy, go slightly harder, and so on. So you're getting definitely a lot of race pace work here with basically 2.5 to 3 hours of work and 20-minute recoveries between these intervals. So it's a good solid ride to practice these things. You definitely will want to practice your race nutrition and hydration fully and really focus on fueling, because especially if you're somebody who produces quite a lot of power, generally speaking, then the absolute demands in terms of energy for this kind of ride will be huge in terms of calories. The brick run off the bike is just a nice and easy zone 1/low zone 2, nothing other than that. And then on Sunday is this week also a pretty hard day with an open water swim, a tempo/threshold swim with 30 minutes at basically close to your best effort, but not quite best effort, but yeah, close to it. So this will be very hard and should be hard. Do your best, but pace well. Don't go out and blow yourself up in the first 5 minutes. There's no point in doing that. Pacing is critical, and it's a skill to be owned and a skill to be learned. Let me just see here if there was anything else around that. Now, just doing the usual stuff, T1 simulation and so on, frequent sightings. So nothing particular about that. Just a good opportunity to push yourself for a long continuous duration. Because keep in mind, 30 minutes might be half or less than half of the time that you'll be doing your Ironman swim in. So and then you will need to push yourself for an hour or more. So this is just 30 minutes. So you should be able to push yourself, because it's also not right at the limit. It's just close to the limit, but not right at it. And then finally, we have an endurance run, a long run, 2 hours 30 minutes, but we progressively increase speed towards the end. So we do an hour 20 at just a low zone 2 pace. Then we do 30 minutes at a high zone 2 pace. And then finally 30 minutes at more like a tempo pace. And this might even be like, this might be seen as slightly faster than race pace. It might be seen as even half Ironman race pace, depending on what your speed is. So if you take a bit longer to get around the marathon, then certainly this could be more like a half Ironman race pace, whereas it will be slightly slower than that for the really advanced athletes or really fast athletes, I should say. Not because fast and advanced is different. We need to keep in mind that there are different age groups, different like gender differences, and so on. So I want to make that clear, that when I talk about people needing different times to get around the course. It's not, we're all advanced athletes here, but it still doesn't prevent there from be a difference in terms of the finishing times among people using this plan. And the fast finish is kind of optional in that you can, if you feel too fatigued from the ride that you did the day before, then it might be beneficial to leave that and just do easy jogging from there on. But I believe that that's it for this week. And sorry, I should mention here that I was just looking at the structured workout, but I should have read the description here. And the 30 minutes at the end here is prescribed to be at Ironman race pace or Ironman race pace or slightly faster. Yeah, so that's what I said, I believe, but no faster than open marathon pace. So I guess that gives you a little bit of a clearer picture of what we're looking at. Although, I mean, 85 to 90% gives a pretty clear picture. So from kind of what would be Ironman pace for a pretty fast athlete to marathon pace. But yeah, it's a solid run. You definitely need to fuel and hydrate through it to be ready to do that sort of pretty hard 30 minutes. But with that small correction, I'm done for this week with the instructional video or informational weekly video. So I hope that your training is going well and will keep going well in this next week, and I'll talk to you then. Bye bye.